Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Chaitanya Arora from Frontlist Media, and I welcome you all to the PVLF 24 Hours Authors Marathon. This is one of a kind marathon because I guess for the very first time, for 24 hours, we'll have an authors marathon having authors from various genres who've written lots of numerous amazing books. And joined by me is Mr. Karan Puri. He's recently written his book called Me Too, as the name suggests, a very prominent book. And if I may get a chance to introduce him, he's an Indian author. His first fiction novel was Happens, Desi Boy in America, and has been, I would say, a big hit, a bestseller rather. And the book was also mentioned in India Today top 20 books back in 2012, and he's recently been featured by Daily Wire as in the list of the 50 most influential authors of 2021. Welcome to the Authors Marathon, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. A pleasure to be here.
Sir, before I start with my questions, I would really like that. Why don't you tell the viewers about your book?
Okay, I'll tell you a little bit about this book. I wrote this last year during the lockdown, and first I launched it as an ebook. The hashtag #MeToo book was released as an ebook on Amazon first. So it was obviously a challenging part for me, launching the book online. And we did the launch on Oxford Bookstore Live. So that was the first. And so it was really nice. The main reason I wrote these stories, it was a collection of 6 stories, which I wrote on the Me Too movement, or fictionalized characters, because I wanted to make people who have gone through this abuse feel alive. And there were a lot of stories which are actually had not come out about this hashtag Me Too. And I wanted to make them realize that it's okay, you should come out and you should actually tell your story. It's not your fault, and you have to get rid of that baggage, and you deserve to lead a baggage-free life. And it is time to transfer the weight of the wrongdoings to the wrongdoers, to the culprits. So Me Too, the book, it inspires us to be more evolved and compassionate. That is the message that I want to drive with the book. Society plays a major role in shaping up a person's mindset and psyche. So it is this mindset that I wanted to change with my book. And it's a fictionalized version, motivated by the movement. It is a collection of short stories, as I said, and the details of the movement are available in public domain. And the book is mainly primary to create awareness, and that was the main reason. And now it's the book is out, and I'm just hoping that this year the Hindi version of the book will be released around March, April, so that it reaches more audience and connects with more hearts. So that was my aim of writing the book.
So, sir, this question actually has already been asked a lot of times, but still it never loses its relevance. That Me Too movement turned out to be an equally big movement for media channels as well as for those who watch these channels. So I'm talking from a viewer's point of view. And do you think that we really miss the essence of this movement by giving it a completely different face and not take it by what it was?
No, actually, Me Too, as I said, was about raising awareness. And what happened in Hollywood, it really got widespread media coverage. And because of that, there's a lot of discussion on sexual harassment, particularly in Hollywood. It started with, led to high profile terminations from positions held by people, as well as criticism and backlash. So there was false reports of sexual assault too, but when they happen, they are put more in spotlight for the public to see. But this can actually give a false impression that most sexual assaults are false, but it's not true. They account for only 2% to 10% of all the reports. So these figures don't actually take into account that the majority of victims do not report they are assaulted or harassed. So that is the thing lacking. And media was very important, because the movement, after the media coverage left a lasting impression on me. It gave so many women an avenue to express their feelings. It was shocking to me that there were so many women who had not disclosed their personal experience with sexual abuse, thinking that it was okay to let the perpetrators go free. But no, it is very important to put them to, task. And that is why, I wrote this book, so that more and more the movement continues and it really reaches the masses, and not only the high society. And if you see, each of the stories are different and unique, and written from a human perspective without wearing any glasses. So it is very important that we drive home the point, and have continuously talk about this, so that more women come out and speak about it.
Sir, like you mentioned that a lot of cases weren't reported, or a lot of
Right.
cases were even false cases. So
Right.
as much as the Me Too movement has fired the spark of feminism, would it be right to say at this point of time that at the very same time
Mm.
the fire of feminism has lost its ethnicity now?
See, I think actually the abuse of power by men in higher offices was there prevalent. It was an open secret. And many women across the industries have been subject to such lewd remarks. So suggestive behavior and assault, and often being penalized. So now more and more women are, going to the higher ranks, and they're doing well, and overtaking those men. So, but I feel it is very important that the awareness and the prevalence of the impact of sexual violence is there, and I don't think it's causing any negative air of feminism as such. I don't agree with that. But obviously, you have to. It depends on person to person how they perceive it.
Sir, but at the very same time, when this Me Too movement, when it reached masses through the
Hmm.
Bollywood, and
Hmm.
a lot of cases came up,
Right.
especially, and they weren't expected to come up. Nobody could have imagined that something of this kind would even happen in an industry like Bollywood. So,
Right.
do you think that this was possibly uh, this was used as a tool for some, say, PR, or some get some light in the media, especially for an actor who hasn't been in the news but suddenly gets there, because
See,
Bollywood
in
has had its own dark secrets.
yes, so even in Bollywood, if you see, the Me Too movement in India started from Bollywood when Tanushi Datta came out, and then more and more women came out, journalists came out. So that was the actually the starting point, the tipping point in India, at least. So I think it's that was also a good revelation, because that helped it go down and to the masses, and also they also started speaking up, and there were journalists who started speaking up, and it was in all corridors of power. So you can't say that they were Bollywood, the women were not actually there were false cases and all. It was obviously a percentage were false cases, and obviously those cases they didn't go all the way, right? So there were some cases like even the Sajid Khan one that didn't reach its conclusion. The director again got to do another film, and he continued his career. So there were at least some learnings from all that. And some people actually, the women, when I talk to them, they're happy that at least now men are scared about not doing the right. If they do wrong, then they will be taken to task. So at least that has helped us to have the some amount of equality between men and women, and that is a welcome change in society, and that is what we are hoping for, and that is what we're trying to achieve. So I am really happy with whatever has happened, and I think this should continue, and there should be a balance of power, even in corporate, even in Bollywood, anywhere. So that is very important. What is wrong has to come out, and it has to be corrected. That is the equality in society is something which I always strive for. and promote. So, it has to be changing your society perspective, your human perspective, and how you think. The main problem is how the men think right now, right? The mindset. When our politicians speak, then what are they speaking? Are they right or are they wrong to talk about women in such a derogatory manner? So all these learnings they will take. Our youngsters are very informed, and they will see what is right and wrong. They will decide, what is right, what is wrong, and then they'll take their decision accordingly. So I feel the future generations need to take this forward, and always there has to be a balance which has to be kept. And I'm happy that that is going on now, and it is doing well. The movement is really reaching its whatever it was set out to do.
I would completely agree here.
Yeah. Yes.
The very simple reason being that at least this has given women a platform to open up. But at the very
Yes.
same time, this has happened in the era of not only which is led by media, but also which is led by social media. And it would have had its own impacts. So what do you think was possibly, say, a wrong spark from the social media point of view in the moment, and how would people have avoided it?
See, social media, you see, is evolving every day, and people are actually using the digital medium. If you see Twitter, anybody and everybody has their point of view. They're talking about it, but obviously you have to control how you use it, how you actually use it to your advantage. So these kind of platforms are something which can help you in order to drive a cause forward. So there are obviously people who misuse it, but that is not the way to do. You have to whatever you put your mind into it, and you are working for a cause, you can really drive that cause really well through social media. So I always look at the positives, and I think there will be people who will try and use it for negative publicity and other things, but obviously the truth will prevail, and people will understand what is right, what is wrong.
Sir, like I completely get your point here, but now my thoughts, my views slightly differ, and
Mm-hmm.
what I believe is that as much as men have learned their lesson, at
Right.
the very same time, this transfers an equal amount of power into the hands of
Mm-hmm.
ladies as well.
Right.
Now, of course, this is a big platform, and I wouldn't like to, demean anyone or anyone's
Mm-hmm.
points or points of views. But what
Right.
I believe is that this movement, because of
Mm-hmm.
social media, it has
Mm-hmm.
slightly given an extra amount of power into the hands of women, and there have been cases where women have misused this concept of Me Too for men who are actually innocent. So
Mm-hmm.
what can be the best way possible to tackle such cases? Because anyway, the truth will prevail. But for as long as
Right.
that man's life is at risk, it is an equal risk because
That's
there
true.
is a life at danger.
Yes. These kind of things, obviously, people have, talked about it, and certain women have actually come out in support of the men. You're right. It has happened. So definitely it should, obviously, they have to support what is true. So if a certain woman is misusing that power and misusing a certain cause, a certain movement towards her advantage, they have to be taken to task. You're correct. But you can't generalize it, you know all the women you cannot generalize. So it depends on case to case basis, but obviously so that people understand, and obviously law takes its own course, and those things come out in the open. Sometime it takes time, but they do come out in the open.
But at the very same time, I mean the Indian judiciary is massive. It's huge, but still there is a shift, and the shift is very evident and prominent in such way that
Mm-hmm.
when the victim is a lady,
Mm-hmm.
the media perceives the case from a different point of view.
Right.
But when the victim is a man, the media completely changes its face. What what can be the possible reason for such big media houses to actually change the perspective of the case, like completely 360-degree, and yet manage to get coverage and people still get get very much impacted by such cases?
Yes, it's true. Obviously, I don't know what, like, why media does that. Some of the media actually use this to their advantage, to their TRPs, to their ratings. But, obviously, people are smart now. The public is smart. They understand that what is wrong, right, what is wrong. They evaluate. Like, for example, there are some people, there was some actor and they were friends of the actors in Bollywood who supported the actor against that woman who actually had filed a case on him. So obviously there'll be people who will come out and they'll support and they'll share that what is right, what is wrong. So then obviously media has to be more responsible and they have to play a very responsible role in putting both facets of the story, not only one side, so that the people can evaluate and make a decision and impression accordingly. So I agree with you, sometimes it is misused by the media, but then I think we are all, we have to decide, like, how it's going to play forward.
At the very same time, sir, as much as men have learned their lesson,
Hmm.
this actually begins a new phase of responsibilities for men as well, to make
Yes.
such big industries a safer place for women. What do
Hmm.
you think can be the role of women here to take this Me Too movement to the next phase? Yeah, make it stronger, make it more evident.
Yeah, well, women have to be really, know that, they have been given this responsibility, and now they should focus on doing what's right and not hide anything, not be shy, not you have to. It's not only she too. I think it's me too, he too, everybody. We too, I would say. For the me in the me too is a person, an individual, a self-respect, a sanctity, a sentiment, an emotion, a breach of trust. So this is very important that it's we too, and women and mothers, daughters, everybody have to take it upon themselves to ensure that this movement drives that change that that needs to be coming in a society, and change the mindset not only of men but also women who think like that. I've heard a lot of stories in the news that the woman who was speaking out for men. So it is both side. It's not one side. It's we too, and it is very important that this goes on. And as you said, that everything this movement continues and reaches its conclusion. So that process and that responsibility lies with the woman, of course.
So, like you mentioned that your book #MeToo, it has fictionalized characters.
Right.
So, are these fictionalized characters stories of real people who have faced these incidents, or you have taken inspiration from these incidents and then weaved them into a book?
See, if you see, I have one story on the corporate life, corporate Me Too also, and I actually interviewed few women who have gone through this. And as per my interview with the Indian Express, I mentioned that I have decided to keep their identity as confidential. But yeah, obviously a part of it is what they told me, a part of it is my imagination, but definitely these are fictional accounts, you can say, but motivated by the real stories which I heard from them.
So, sir, this is a pretty amazing piece of literature, and Me Too as a movement has grown a lot. It has grown for good, rather,
Hmm.
despite the fact that there are a lot of differences, and we've discussed them thoroughly. Yet,
Right.
it holds the power to grow more and in a good way. So, do you think that the more and more such movements come up, we can expect more and more such amazing books from you?
Yes, actually, yeah, I always like to write about something which is close to my heart. So, my first book I wrote on a student's journey to the US, and it was a humorous account of a Indian boy going to the US and studying, and how what new experiences he has, how he faces those challenges in a new world, in a new country, in the US. So, and the second one was on this, and I plan to continue this momentum. And currently, since my my passion is writing, so I'm a regular lifestyle influencer also. So I want to write something with the next generation in mind. So I'm writing a book with the teenagers who really like to do blogging, and they like to be a chef. Since I'm passionate about food, so I'll be working on with a celebrity chef on this book, which I'm planning to release sometime in the summer. And the work has started. So this my journey of writing continues, and I hope to touch more hearts and reach people, and do give something of value to the society, and some motivate some people to do things the right way.
That's pretty amazing. I'm sure looking forward to the next release as well. That was
Thank
a
you.
really insightful session. So thank you so much for being with us. It was a pleasure to have you.
Pleasure to have you, and thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you.
nice. Thank you.